You know, I tell the story of General Pershing. You'll take a look at General Pershing in 1919 in the Philippines, how he stopped terrorism, okay? You'll take a look at it. It's too long a story to tell on your tape. It would take the whole thing, but it's one of the very interesting and very powerful stories. Look, we're gonna have to be a lot tougher. We are playing with a different set of rules. ISIS chops off people's heads. ISIS drowns people in steel cages and pulls up the cage. An hour later, everyone's gone, 40, 50, 60 people at a time.
Well, you said just the other day,
we can't waterboard.
You said we got to play the game the way they play the game.
We have to play the game at a much tougher level than we're playing.
What does that mean, though?
Well,
does that mean
we have to expand those laws.
Does that mean cutting off heads?
No, it doesn't mean that, but it means we have to expand the laws. Look.
What does expand the laws mean?
Anderson, let me explain something. We are playing at this level, and they don't care. They have no rules, and we have these rules that are very onerous. I mean, our military is brought in because you're too tough.
Geneva Conventions on War.
Yes,
There's rules
but
in a battlefield.
you know what? It's funny. It's very interesting what happens with the Geneva Convention. Everybody believes in the Geneva Convention until they start losing, and then they say, oh, let's take out the bomb, okay, when they start losing. We have to play with a tougher set of rules. We have laws. We don't allow waterboarding. Think of this. ISIS these are smart people. These are people that know the internet better than we do. And we're the ones that you know, came up with it. ISIS is sitting around. They just chopped off 20 heads of Christians and others. They just drowned 40 people. And they're sitting around watching us arguing about waterboarding.
When you say increase the laws, though, and do more than waterboarding, what is that specifically?
We'll work on that with the generals. I'll work on it with the generals.
I talked to General Michael Hayden.
Yeah, sure. He says it's terrible that we talk that way. And you know what? That's why he's been fighting this war for many years, okay?
He's a four-star general, former head of the CIA, former head of the NSA. He says your foreign policy ideas frighten him.
Oh, yeah, I know. Well, he frightens me. Because we've been fighting ISIS for many years, and this should have been over with quickly. So that's the problem. We have these people that they're frightened because I'm protecting the terrorists.
But do you think the problem with fighting ISIS is that we're not using the same tactics that they are?
We're not fighting it strongly enough. We have to end it, and we have to get back to rebuilding our country. Our infrastructure is falling apart. Our country is falling apart. Our bridges are falling down. You know, 60% of our bridges are in dangerous condition, and we're spending trillions and trillions of dollars in the Middle East. We have to fight it viciously and swiftly, and we have to knock out ISIS. Now, I didn't want to go into Iraq, but the problem now is the way Obama got us out was a disaster. And if you remember, when we got out, and I said it on your show 2-3 years ago, I said, take the oil. So did I say take the oil?
Yeah, you did.
Okay.
So when you say, so are you still in support of waterboarding and more?
I am in total support of waterboarding. It's got to be within the law, but I have to expand the law because a lot of people think it's not within the law now because of this administration. So they're allowed to chop off heads, and we're not allowed to waterboard. Somehow we're at a big disadvantage. I will tell you that right now. And again, I was going to give you the analogy. Yeah. So they're sitting around having dinner. They eat, believe it or not, too, even though they chop off heads and even though they drown people, and they're talking. Can you imagine the conversation when they're talking about how weak and soft and pathetic we are, and they go out and chop off people's heads, okay? They can't believe it. They can't believe it.
I got to ask you about
the fact is, just in a nutshell, we have to be much tougher. If we're going to beat ISIS, we have to be much tougher than we are. When you have General Hayden saying, oh, that's so terrible the way Trump is talking, that's why we're losing.